Hi, and welcome to this vocabulary lesson because we are going to look at synonyms, collocations in context, and words that belong in the word family. I hope you'll stick around with me every single day, learn these 3,000 words with me. Typically. All right. So I chose this picture of the bus. This bus is very typical in London. We don't have double-decker buses in the United States. If we do, it's a private bus. These buses are typically seen in London, maybe in other British cities. You'll have to let me know. But they are typically seen in London. And if you see this kind of a bus, you think, oh, this bus is typically found in London. Typically means usually, or where it can be expected, normally. So some synonyms for typically are usually, normally, commonly, ordinarily, or generally, as a rule. So while this bus is not typical of the United States, you would not typically see a double-decker bus in the United States. You will see if, for example, we have a lot of tour buses that has the top cut off so that people are sitting outside. That is something you would typically see in a big city that has bus tours. But it's a private bus company. It's not the public transport like it is in London. Typically talks about behavior. It's a general habit, common behavior. This is a neutral or factual usage of the word typically. She typically drinks coffee before starting work. Because we're talking about habits with the word typically is an adverb of frequency. Adverbs of frequency go with present simple tense. She typically drinks coffee before starting work. She typically eats, she typically goes. I typically start my day with some hot water and lemon. How do you typically start your day? It describes something that usually happens, your routine or your habit. Typically can also be used in a statistical sense. Let me make this bigger for you. For example, the process typically takes 3 to 5 business days. Again, this is still, I'm talking about the general or what usually happens. It can be counted as a habitual thing. This indicates that an average or expected outcome is based on data or experience. It typically does this. This is kind of a formal usage. It's informational. Typically can be used to talk about stereotypical traits. It can be neutral or slightly critical. For example, that response is typically American, direct and confident. So each nationality, no person within a country is the same as any other person within that country. But there are certain traits that belong to certain national characters. As we look at our history and we look at our politics and the kind of world we live in, we are likely to develop certain ways of thinking. Those become our stereotypical traits. Things that maybe the majority of Americans feel one way, while the majority of French people might feel a different way about it, because our life experiences are different, right? Typically refers to characteristics commonly linked to a group. So that response is typically American, direct and confident. Those are American traits. Perhaps if you are in the South, in the southern United States, you'll say direct. We're not very direct. Different regions within America also has different patterns of being. Typically can be a little mildly critical or ironic. For example, he forgot his keys again. Typically careless of him. Typically plus an adjective is saying that is a general characteristic. It suggests something is predictably characteristic. It's usually used with a hint of annoyance or judgment. So typical. It's typically, he typically forgot his keys again. We can use it as to be objective if we're taking an academic or descriptive tone. For example, in this species, males are typically larger than females. typically found in or typically observed, typically larger or smaller. Those things mean that as a rule, you will find this. This is used to describe general patterns while allowing for exceptions. The opposite of typical is atypical, or typically, atypically. So if I use an A is a way to say not. It works with atypical, it works with moral, amoral, or immoral. Putting an A on the front of a word will often make it to be the opposite. The noun is type. There's no verb. We have this one. To typecast something is the same as to profile or to find what is typical. So to typecast it is to say, I expect it will act this way because it looks like it will act that way. But we're not actually using the word type as the verb. This whole thing is the verb, to typecast someone. The adjective is typical and the adverb is typically. Typically. I really hope that you enjoyed this word. Research shows that if you know 3,000 words, then you can pretty much say anything you need to say. I hope I'll see you tomorrow, and please like and subscribe.